Well, hi there, it's Polly here, trapped in the sheer hell of winter in Perth. Just out from flamenco class, you can tell by the hobnail shoes. My God. Anyway, yes. So, viewer question again, and it was about humour within role-playing games and role-playing sessions. Is it ever appropriate? Which was it was kind of an odd thing to hear. So, I mean, yes, it is, and it almost always is, but in the right measure. One of the things that I've missed, sort of post-COVID and quite frankly post coming out, my role-playing game group vanished, except for my housemate, who is a role player. So we've played a lot of one-on-one, and it's actually a lovely experience because we're both. We know each other well. We're both very clever, so you can do some really interesting whodunits, some really great mysteries, some great political stuff. I got back to like a club of just kind of what you would most politely call randos, random gamers. And of course, I was almost shocked to find that these people were all just focused on playing a combat game. They just want to hit things. But I could see from the chaos in that they don't get these kind of deeper games done. Because there's so much argument back and forth around the table, and every decision has some idiot kind of stumbling into the middle of it to ask questions, and simple things take half an hour to organise because everyone's got a question, and this guy now wants to do this and this one wants to go and do that. So I was sort of wondering, well, hang on, what are we missing, and why did I miss having the group? And the reason I missed having a group was the banter. I think that's what actually makes a lot of the role-playing experience really memorable. Banter, which can actually be very different from humour. I decided to run an interesting game, actually. There was no real system there. I had people list down what their character was good at. For anything they were good at, they had to list down something they were bad at. And then they got a free kind of couple of quirks and things. All this was you could pick anything that you wanted as a game system. I just had to essentially, as the umpire, roll against you. So if you wanted to do a skill check, what I said was, roll whatever dice makes you feel comfortable, or draw cards from a deck. Any system you want. All that happens is the umpire, I will roll on exactly the same thing, but for a character, essentially, if you equal or beat me, I will say that the skill was successful. If it's something that you're particularly good at, then I will let you roll twice and take the best, or draw two cards and take the best, or do rock, scissors and paper twice and take the best. These sorts of things. It actually really unnerved a lot of people because where's the stats? Where's the numbers? Where's the bonus? How do I? No, it's about the game. But the thing I loved about this was it was a horror sort of setting, and these people had sort of arrived in this other world. It was actually, I was drawing on the Ravenloft general setting from 3rd Ed, which were great books, by the way. But these guys come through the mist and they've got no equipment, they've got nothing, and they're actually really starving. They're stumbling through the rain and the mist, and of course, they spy on a road and they see some guys with tricorn hats and long coats sort of riding past, and a coach, big black coach, goes past. More tricorn hat people, okay. And they come to a farmhouse and there's like, there's a meat pie just kind of cooling on the windowsill. So, oh my God, hey, let's run up and steal that. And one of the other players, careful. Where they have tricorn hats, they have tricorn gallows. And I don't know, that was a lovely, memorable phrase. And there's been some fantastic memorable phrases come out in games. And I think it's these memorable phrases that make things, so fun. That banter, and I've told tales of this. I'll return to my good friend Derek, and there was one that I loved. A Mustang? Seriously? So Derek was a young gamer who was very steeped in reading pretentious kind of fancy novels. So he's doing up a Dungeons and Dragons character. Unusual for us because we actually have never played much of it because most other games are so much better. But Derek's like, thinking about alignment, and he turns around and proudly says, you know what? My character is going pure neutral because I'm the sort of character that's going to make his own destiny. And I was just scribbling down stuff on a piece of paper for my character, and I just looked up and said, oh, that's all right if you can get the wood. And Derek said, what? It's all right if you can get the wood. He said, the wood? I said, yeah, to make your own destiny. Really? I said, well, you're going to carve your own destiny, aren't you? Yeah, well, it's got to be wood. And kid's looking confused, and another player leans over and says, could be ivory. You're right, you could carve an ivory destiny, I guess. How much money have you got, Derek? I said, 80 gold pieces. Oh, you'll never afford an ivory destiny. It's got to be wood. Someone else leans in and says, it could be iron. What? He could forge a mighty destiny. Oh, you're right. What's your character's strength? 12. Says, no, you'll never be able to push an iron destiny around. That'll be too fatiguing. Yeah, it'll have to be wood, but maybe we can improve on it later. Oh, so I just, have you only got 80? Yeah, I might be able to get you a deal on a good destiny. I will give my character the 80 and I'll go off. Oh, okay. I'll give the character 80. So I just went off to the umpire and said, I'm going to buy a little hand cart. What are they, about 25 gold pieces, something like that? Yep. I'll spend more, 35. I want a really nice one. It'll be all painted, bright colours and have some bunting around the side. Mwah, really great. Come back later on. It's like, oh, good, here's your destiny, Derek. And for the rest of the game, this thing's just an on-running joke. As it gets away from him down the hill, he's now got a runaway destiny. People are taking shelter from arrows behind his destiny. We had to worry about going through a desert. Oh, there might be termites. Then Derek will have a holy destiny. But, it was a silly, fun campaign, and having the running joke was great. But I have seen some horror stuff undercut by people trying to make jokes that kind of spoiled the umpire's wish to make something serious. Now, humour always belongs in its place. Have a think about the movie Aliens, one of my favourites, my absolute favourites. It's a horror film, horror and action. But what dialogue do you remember? You're about scares. Everyone ever mistake you for a man? Game over, man, game over. Somebody wake up Hicks. These kinds of things are the memorable moments because they're kind of in many ways, the spice. They're people dealing with their rotten environment. So, again, it's great if kept within character. So, as such, it actually enhances the game and gives people a memorable experience. However, if you're going to essentially dump on the game, if you're going to make derogative jokes about the game, then I think the umpire has every right to just fold it and quit and just say no. So in a way, I guess, this brings us back to good old session 0 again. As you discuss, and it doesn't have to be a long discussion, but as you discuss the game you're going to do, there has to be a place for people to exercise their wit, provided it is wit, and not just me play with dead corpse, or me parade this guy's skin around, or I'm just never going to take the monsters seriously because, I really can't handle the role-playing end of role-playing. You have to have that discussion because tone is important, because a role-playing game is an emotional journey that we're all going to share together. And a part of that can be either characters making quips in character, or it can be some very funny and witty stuff delivered from the players. But it does have to be borne in mind that the idea is not to undercut the experience everyone is sharing. And that can be a little bit of a burden on some people, but bear in mind that this is a cooperative effort that we're all doing. So think of it a little bit like a great a great movie? What would you really like to have those characters say and remember? So if the joke's appropriate, then great, you know. So I do really think humour is really an inherent part of role-playing games. From its genesis, its absolute genesis, because it's a game and we're here to have fun. The very first role-playing game session I was ever in, there was a guy who's, for some reason, his character was called, it was a character that he'd managed to roll like an 18 strength and about a 3 intelligence and about a 3 wisdom. He just called this thing you bangy bangy, and this was his war cry. And that guy was having the time of his life every time he goes into battle, and you could hear it ringing through the club that you bangy bangy, as this guy stands up to roll his dice, because all luck comes from on high. So the higher he is, and he shakes the dice over his head, therefore, you know, blessed luck will come down upon him, and he's rolling the dice. What would have been an otherwise, I don't know, relatively pedestrian dungeon bash was turned into magic by this guy's sheer enthusiasm and joy. And that's it. Don't kill the joy. A horror game that's done right can be joyous, because there's often some very cunning whodunits and mysteries to solve. You know, it's a logical puzzle for us to solve, and there's a huge satisfaction in that. And sometimes some quips and smart alecky comments really do enhance that experience. So yeah, don't turn your back on humour if you're trying to run a serious game, because humour is human. Humour is part of us, and if you shut part of us away entirely from a game, you're missing part of the experience. But, like I said, do make sure that it doesn't spoil the game in its feel and its gravitas, if that's what the game is about. But it's still appropriate to slide it in there as something memorable and clever. Don't just dick around for the sake of trying to be a smart aleck, and never, never, never dick around just to be disruptive of the game or ruin the work that the umpire has put in to make this happen for everybody. That is so disrespectful. I've had to close down so many games when people just started dumping on the world or whatever because they thought somehow they were scoring points. Never do that. All it means is that you ruined everyone's game. Yes, for a narcissist you've got tons of attention, but it's not the right attention. Everyone hates you now. So yeah, look, be joyous, be funny, and make the games memorable. Anyway, cheers everyone. By the way, that yellow thing behind me, that is an Australian wattle tree. Thinking of humour. This is the wattle, the emblem of a land. You can stick it in a bottle, you can hold it in your hand. Amen, crack a tube. Oh, the warbling thing, that is a magpie. Hello, magpie. An interesting creature. That one likes me. Normally they can have your eye out in a second, but these guys, I feed them. I'm a role-playing gamer. You know, always make friends with security, always befriend the magpies. Anyway, look after yourselves, and I'll hopefully see everyone around the gaming table someday. Bye!